Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Firstly, before I start, could I just say thank you to everyone that's subscribed and that's liked the videos. That's fantastic. It's been really rewarding to see that so many people have actually, well, one, appreciated it, but also found them useful, what I've sort of spoke about with Cubase and music production useful. Which brings me on to, if you think of anything else you would like me to cover regarding music production or guitar, it doesn't have to necessarily be Cubase related, but anything to do with music production, if you want me to have a look at it, even if it's something that I'm not sure about myself, I'm happy to research anything. I find it really interesting, music production, and learning anything about it, so any suggestions will be more than welcome. Over the past sort of week, I suppose, I've been thinking what I can add to the channel to, one, give something to you to experiment with and try, but also that we can then look at and expand upon. And I thought, well, it would make sense to create a sample pack that you could perhaps try and use in your compositions. Now, this sample pack I've made is guitar related and bass related to start with, and I've done it in the key of A minor or C major. They're royalty free, so I've made them for you to use, so you can use them in any project, and if it's a commercial project, whatever, you're free to use them. That's fine. The only thing that I've noticed with sample packs, they say, is that you can't resell them in isolation, so try to use the samples within your own composition, make something creative with them. But they're royalty free, and I intend to, if this goes well, look at creating them in different keys, different styles. So again, if you've got any ideas of stuff that you want to do in, or you'd like me to make a sample pack in any style or different BPM or whatever, just do let me know and I'll try and do that for you. At the moment, as I say, I've done these in C major or A minor. I've kept it quite small because I thought it'd probably be easier to work with. One thing, for my own creating it, I'll get better at creating sample packs, and the other thing, I thought if we kept it small, we can look at what we can do with it to start with, and we can expand on it from there. Now, things to remember with this sample pack, I've recorded them at 24-bit 48K. Now, if that means nothing to you, don't worry, I'm going to explain that. I've told you the key, it's C major or A minor. I did an A minor, I think, and then went through. And I did them 120 BPM. So for argument's sake, when we look at these really quickly now, we'll set our project to 120 BPM. But we can look at changing that. If you want to work with them in a different BPM in another project, Cubase is cool at changing the tempo and stuff like that. So, well, let's get cracking. Oh, I forgot to say as well, they're in the description. So there'll be a link in the description to the sample pack. Download it, it'll be a zip file, so once it's downloaded as a zip file, just double click on it and drag it into wherever you keep your samples or a folder that you can locate it to, and then we're going to have a really quick look at it. But perhaps as the week goes on, I'll do another video where we can look at it more in depth. And I'll tell you one other thing I want to do is I'm also going to record over the weekend, hopefully, some drum sounds, but more sort of organic or maybe even industrial, I don't know, but I'm going to plan to make a complete unique drum sample pack that we could perhaps use in this as well. And I'm hoping I'm going to save it as a Groove Agent preset, so once you download it, you can load it up in Groove Agent and you should be away to go, so we can load the drum editor and stuff. So let's have a look. So I'm going to start a completely new project for this. So I'm going to go File, once I've loaded Cubase, File, New Project, prompt me for location, that's always useful to have, and create empty. So I'm going to put this on my D drive, so along here I've gone to the D drive and new folder, and I'm going to call it Matt's Sample Pack Try, and then select the folder. Okay, so Cubase has made us a blank project. Now, you know what I was saying about sample rates and things like that? If you look under your project, so that's along the top menu, go down to Project Setup, you'll see here the sample rate and bit depth. At the moment I've got this, this must be, because I haven't changed this I don't think, this looks like Cubase sets it to 48, 24-bit automatically, which is the same as the samples, which is great. If you find you're working a different bit rate, like say an older project and it's 16-bit say, or something like that, when you drag the samples in, Cubase will ask you if you want to convert them, and I would say yes you do, because otherwise if you don't, sometimes it can speed the sample up or change the pitch of the sample, and it can sound quite odd. So only thing really I'd suggest, if you're starting at scratch like I am, go to your project setup, and make sure we're 48, 24. Now, I downloaded this sample pack, so I put it up on as a file, and I downloaded it as a zip file, and I just copied it over to my D drive. So if I show you my, I can show you the D drive if you want, so we can see it. So I went to my D drive, and there it is. It's I put it in a folder actually. I called it Modulation Guitar Sample Pack, and just copied them across. So if anyone has any trouble with downloading them and also creating a folder in order to put your samples, just leave a message in the comments and I will get back to you. Sometimes it takes a day or two, but I'll definitely get back to you and I'll help you out with it. So if you have any trouble with it, do let me know. So project set, we're at 48, 24-bit because that's what the samples were recorded at. And then if we go to this right zone, this is one area we can find this sample pack. The other way we could do it, and this is entirely up to you how you work. So if you're on an older version of Cubase that hasn't got the different zonal system, you can do F5 to bring up the media bay, and all you do in media bay is go to your computer. So this PC, I know they're on my D drive, and there you go, Modulation Guitar samples, and I've got them there. Now, one thing I have noticed with Cubase, sometimes it doesn't find the sample straight away, and what I do is just unclick here on the left hand side, but I press keep and then I click it again to tick them again, and then it finds them. And you can see here you've got each folder. So I've made a bass guitar, a DI folder, and I've used them with Fender guitars and the Ibanez guitars I had with me. Now, one thing to explain as well, the DI unprocessed guitars, so these DI ones, are just direct injection. So I literally took my guitar, plugged it in to my sound card and recorded it, so they're going to sound really dry with no effects at all. That's why I want you to experiment with using effects, amp sims and things like that. And in fact, that's one thing I didn't mention. Anything you do create, if you could send me a link, I'd love to hear what you've done with these. It'd be great to know that you found them useful and you actually created something with it. It'd be really good to know. Okay, so that's one way, is F5 to go to your media bay, locate your folder or the hard drive you put them to and the folder, and remember, if they don't show up, sometimes it just takes a little prompt like unclicking here, press keep and click again. It'll do a search and it'll find them hopefully the second time. And again, do let me know if it doesn't. The other way we're going to look at is this right hand zone. I like working with the right hand zone. The reason being is you can simply drag them into your project. So this is my right hand zone. I'm going to go to file browser, and again, I know I've put these on my D drive, and on my D drive I've hardly got anything on here. I've chucked everything onto old stuff at the moment. So can you see here, this is all I've got on my D drive. So, and I know it's here, Modulation Guitar Samples. I can click this little arrow and it'll give me the click down to the extra folders I've made. And perhaps let's have a look at, let me move this across a minute. I've got here, so my Ibanez guitar with amp, reverb and delay. Let me just see what I've got on there. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to use. Again, I perhaps should have made an extra folder for each one of these, but if you find anything that I've done, because this is my first sample pack I've made as well, if you think he could have done this more efficiently and I'd have preferred it if I'd done it this way, do let me know, because it'd be quite interesting, because it's a bit of a learning curve for me as well. Now, let's make something pretty atmospheric. So I'm set at 120 BPM at the moment, and these samples have been recorded at that. So let's keep it at that, but we'll perhaps try later in the week, once we make a quick idea now, later in the week we'll try and advance on this and we'll change the BPM. What I'm going to grab from this folder is I'm going to take, the ones with thirds on them, so it's just the root and the third of the chord. Now, in fact, I was collecting them all up, but let's just do it one by one because I'll show you how we import the samples. So in the right hand zone, let me make this a bit bigger so you can see it. I've located the folder, so we've gone to File Browser, I've located my folder using the menu system, and I've gone to Ibanez with amp and reverb and delay, and I'm just going to literally copy work to working directory. Now, this is, you know, when I told you about the prompt, if you're not working in 2448, it'll ask you for channel settings, I think, and you just OK it. But I'm going to grab each one that's got root and third next to it. Now, if you find you're sick of seeing this, just click Don't Ask Me Again and it will just automatically go up. So I've already noticed an error I've made, but that's good because it means that we can actually, I don't know which ones I've grabbed now. Now, have I had that before? Oh well, if I have, we'll delete it. I'm just not very methodical of me. Okay, let's see what we've got. So if I drag this down a bit and expand him out, okay, I've got a diminished chord, I've got E minor, C, B flat minor, A minor, G, F major, E minor. Well, I know I've had that before, so some of these are repeating. And can you see here, when I created these samples, it seems that I've actually, I didn't edit that very well. So this is where we're going to use the clip function. So I'm going to click on this file, and I'm going to do a fade out there. Or the other thing we can do is take snap off and just get rid of those. Can you see those? I seem to have got an extra chord in there. I don't know why, but it makes it more interesting for editing anyway. So if you find you've got one of those chords, let's have a quick listen what we've got. Oh, I've got to turn my volume up, sorry. Okay, let me just move some of these around a minute. I'm going to put snap back on. Remember that snap function, it's J as well. This will help us snap to a bar at the moment. Okay, I'm trying to work out whether that's... All I'm doing is randomizing these chords with no... I know these all work in the same key, so we're in A minor or C major. I like the way I've done that with the first three. Maybe a G. Let's try changing that. So oh, that's all right. I'm sure you'll come up with something much better than I've done there. So I'm just going to delete those, the ones I'm not using. But I've got an idea for a chord progression now, and don't forget the reason this looks a bit funny here is because I had that chord, I didn't edit it properly, sorry. One way you can get rid of that, this is an interesting one, talking about beat stretching now. On your cursor on the computer, if you press 1 twice, and you see you get a little clock appears, or a little watch face, I can then just move it to the right slightly, and it's made it the same length. Now, that's just beat stretched it slightly, and just an incredibly small amount, so it won't affect the sound, so it'll be fine. And you see I did that by, I pressed 1 until the watch face appears, and then as you click on the actual audio file itself, you'll see you'll get the 2 arrows, and you can stretch that in or out. Oh, and the reason I can't is because I've got it set to a bar at the moment. So if I set it to a beat, sorry, can you see now that's beat stretching to a beat, so that's really fast. But I just set that back so it's a bar long as well. That's, you know, something worth trying with. Okay. Okay, that sounds reasonable. How about we add bass now? Let me just remove this track. I'll right click and remove that track I just made. So, you see here I've made a bass folder. Now, I can even see with D minor, A minor, C, G. Can you see here they're named? We could even colour these if you want to make them a bit more interesting and easy to find. So I'm on bass now. So the first one I'm looking for is D. Oh, well, there you go. I can either choose a pattern that I've made. I might go for one note, so that's just a sustained note. One thing to look at, if you're not working at 120 BPM, is make sure you've got that align beats to project, and that will sort the timing issue out for you straight away. But anyway, we're D, and then next up we have A, and I'm going for the one note ones at the moment, so A, one note. The next one is C, C one note, and then what did I choose next? G. Okay, G one note. Can you see how I link those to this? Because I could see what it was. It's G major, so I chose the G in the bass. C major, I chose a C in the bass. Now, one thing I wanted to explain as well, I've made these quite unprocessed the sound, and you see here there's loads of headroom here because some people they create samples and they normalize it to 0 dB, so they're really loud, but I wanted to keep these as natural as possible so we can look at how we can edit them to work with your project. The first thing we could do is turn this bass up because you can see it's quite low in volume. So do you remember we looked at this in past projects? Wherever you click on an audio file, and in the middle at the top you get that little square, and you can actually increase the volume of the clip gain just by clicking on those. And the reason, because I've got them all highlighted, they'll all do the same thing, which is great. So saves you having to do each individual one. Or having said that, you could look at these and say, this one looks slightly quieter. I'm going to bring that up to be more uniform. But sometimes it's quite good that some are, because it's human and not everything is played at the same volume and velocity all the time. Now, before we listen back to this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lasso them all. So I'm going to left click from underneath, keep left click down, highlight them all, and then I'm going to press Control D, which is a duplicate. Now let's listen. Perhaps we'll add some drums coming in here. But can you see already, just from using... Oh, let me save this. Sample try. Just from using the samples that I've given you so far, we've almost got an idea of an intro to a song structure, and then we can look at using synths, adding drums, even vocals, anything at all, and then you can really start to come up with something original of your own, which is great. And these samples are more of a stimulus than anything, just to give you ideas. But let's try, sorry, I've got a bit of an echo, I'm going to turn me down a bit. How about with a Fender amp? We got a bit of picking, or Fender distorted lead. Let's try these. I'm going to add in like a harmonic. A harmonic is like a guitar effect where you lightly touch over the string of the guitar. Oh, it's quite long. Okay, let's just have a look. I'm pressing G and H to see this. Okay, it still fits to the project because it's 120 BPM, but let's have it coming in here. So it's going to come in after our first 4 chords. And then again, I'm going to use that lasso function, grab all of these, and Control D. Now, let's see how this sounds. And we haven't done anything with volume or anything yet. Again, we can change the colour of these at the top if you wanted to. Oh, sorry. I hadn't highlighted the actual... Oh, hadn't highlighted the actual track. Purple. That kind of fitted, didn't it? Well, it will fit because it's in the same key, but... And can you see, just with the samples, those few samples that I've supplied you with, you can start to build up your own track. And now... Before, I don't want to spend too long in this because I want you to experiment with these samples and see how you get on. But as I say, do contact me in comments, anything at all, because I'd love to hear from you and help you out. If you get stuck with any of these, I'd love to help you out with it. Now, one thing we could look at on these guitar harmonics is perhaps adding new effects. So, do you remember where when we highlight the track, we can click on E. How about we add something like under Modulation Autopan. Now what this does is pans it between speakers, and you can actually set the rate and all of these things. It's quite a cool effect. So, oh, let me fast forward to it. Okay, that's going quite wild, so maybe reduce the width slightly. Move him out a bit, so it's just quite a subtle effect. So maybe I tell you what might be quite cool with that, a bit of chorus, or even something completely mad. I love some of the effects like let me think down here. Not tools. Oh, filters. I love this step filter. I use this all the time. I usually set it to 8th notes, so it's like quaver steps. Maybe bring the mix down, so you get that. The mix is the amount of dry signal from my guitar that I recorded, and that effect. So let me solo that, solo that, so you can hear it. So that's all the effect, and I've just blended it together to get a little bit. And then maybe drums. Now, hopefully by the end of the week, I'm just going to get rid of that right zone in a minute, but you can see how all of those work. And if you like I said before, if you get stuck installing these onto a directory or the sample pack I've given you, just let us know. Within a day or two, I will definitely get back. I'll try and get back as soon as possible, but I will get back to you and I'll try and help you out. Okay, so now, how about we add drums in? So, do you remember when we add MIDI instruments, we're going to use Groove Agent. You can use the plus sign, you can right click and add track, instrument track, or you can also get it from this right zone. It doesn't really matter which one we try. Let's use the right zone. So again, I've gone to the right zone here. Remember those shortcuts, Control R, Control Alt R for right, Control Alt R, and then VST Instruments, and we want, I'll tell you what I want to do in this project as well. I want to use Pad Shop, because that's wicked for creating some atmospheres and stuff like that. So we're going to use Groove Agent, and in fact I'm just going to copy, just drag it over the whole instrument onto this left hand side. It takes a bit of a time on my computer. It's quite old, my computer. Then we haven't got anything here going at all at the moment on these pads, but as soon as I click on presets, I'm on Logical at the moment. This shows you all the kits on the Groove Agent has got as standard. It's on something called Woodworker. Let's just click on it. Okay. Hopefully you can hear that okay. It's a bit quiet for me because I've got the headphones quite low. Okay. I'm happy with that. Let's try it. So, I've made Groove Agent. We've made an instrument. But at the moment, we haven't got anything to edit here. So we've got to make an editable region, I suppose we call it. I always look for the right term for this, but a bit of MIDI information here in order, I like a blank canvas, in order that we've got something to edit. So can you see at the top, this ruler? This is the dictating what the size of this region's going to be. And I'm going to choose from bar 5 to the end of bar 6. So that would be 2 bars worth. And can you see it's sort of highlighted this? And the one thing, it can be a bit tricky at first to get this, but once you hover above, you'll see that pencil appears, or the hand, and as soon as that's there, you can move it. Okay, so I've gone for 2 bars. I'm going to double click in there, and you can see it says it's Groove Agent. We can change the name of that if we want, but let's leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to go to MIDI Open Drum Editor, and I can show you a shortcut for that as well at some point. Now, can you see when I click on them on this left hand side, we can hear them. I quite like that, and I'm going to bring that in on the, you see the beats in the bar, these more highlighted ones. I'm going to bring that on 3. I'm going to bring that on 2 and, sorry, my stomach's rumbling. Okay. Now, if you're unsure about the drum editor in Cubase, look, we have looked at it in a previous video. If you haven't seen that, if you go back through my videos, there is one using drum editor. But as a real shortcut, right click or press what 0 for the drumstick. I thought it was 1, sorry. 0 for the drumstick, or right click will get you the stick, and also he's up there, hiding up there. And all I've done, I just auditioned a few sounds down here. Until I found something. And no rhyme or reason around it. I've just made some random sounds of it. So by just clicking on, and if you find, oh my god, you listen to it and you think, no, that sounds dreadful, just click on it again with the drumstick and it will disappear. Let's have a listen how bad this is. Okay, it kind of works. Now, remember, Control, highlight your bit of information, Control D, duplicates. Okay, and as a last thing, how about we add an insert effect on the drums? Now, remember, on each channel, you highlight the channel, go up to the E, and these are our inserts. We're going to add some send effects, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well with this project. But for now, let's click on these inserts, and I'm thinking reverb. I don't know which one. Oh, in fact, if you haven't got this, I'm sure you'll have RoomWorks. Whatever version of Cubase, I'm sure it comes with RoomWorks. So let's go with that. And this is our reverb. And again, remember this, if you wanted just to set a preset up, I've got it on vocal. I was also looking at vocals at something at some point. So like a cathedral. Let's just have a look at this. I'll move this, sorry, down a bit. Can you see how that's added atmosphere to that drum sound already? Quite atmospheric, this song. I'm liking it. Okay. So, what we'll do, we'll probably take this and add more things to it over the following, well, perhaps we'll do another video midweek. But remember, I hope actually to do a live YouTube at some point, do a live stream. I think that'd be quite interesting. I'm just trying to work out how it all works. Okay, so remember this right zone, shortcut Control Alt R. We went to media, oh, that's what I forgot there. You see the little back button and file browser, and then you have to locate what I did with where you put the samples, not where I have on this computer, but obviously where you have. And then once we've got the Matt Bosworth guitar sample pack, try adding them in. Just experiment. Anything you get stuck with, do let me know, and I'll be happy to. In fact, now we've got this project like this, I'll perhaps be able to discuss it with you actually as we go on the project. Okay, I'm not sure what this is, but it says octave lead. I'm going to add that in as well. Let's see how bad this sounds. And maybe, even before we start, I'm going to use panning. So this is the different speakers. I'm going to pan this to the left speaker by 38. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, it's kind of on Control S for save. And as I say, I've done them all in the same key, and I'm more than happy to make more sample packs. If anyone's got any ideas, guitar related would be even better, as that's my instrument, but I'm definitely going to do some drum ones. But if anyone's got any other ideas of sounds, if they want to do a hard rock one or anything, I'm happy to make more sample packs. But what I thought we'd do, perhaps do another lesson or a video at least on this, show you how I work. And of course, as I always say, it's not, this is me working in Cubase and what I've made, but I think the beauty of DAWs and things like that is that everyone has their own workflow and a different way of working, and no one way is the correct way. We've all got different ways of experimenting and making that originality, which is so vital. But let's have one last quick look. And the only thing that we created from scratch was this groove agent. The rest were from that sample pack. And as I say, they're royalty free. Use them in your projects, and they're in the description. But also, if you do use them or you create anything, I'd love you to link us in, and so perhaps we could all listen to it. Or in fact, I'd love to hear it. And if you're happy for anyone else to hear it, I'd definitely put it in the link. That'd be great. But good luck with that. Take care.